It's a Friday and it's supposed to be writing a report card day. Come along to see how I spend the day.
Hi, I'm Margaret. I'm a mother and ex-corporate turned Ontario teacher and have been in the classroom since 2012. Come along on my call to teach journey.
So the first thing I do is actually have a class list, and I have a checklist of what I have to do per student. I just covered the names. There is something very satisfying about checking off when you're done. I save everything on Word, so I'm going to pull up the progress reports from last term, see what they got, and to make sure I don't say the same things again for the comments, and I'm going to get started on learning skills. The task of writing report cards is a lot. The purpose of the report card, you can look that up on whatever document your board or your district uses. For me personally, the purpose of a report card is to outline for whoever is reading it what the child has learned, identify the strengths, and then your next steps, areas of improvement. What can we do moving on? So as a parent myself, I want to know how my child is doing academically, right? So that is letter grade and the comments that are associated with that for each subject. But I also want to know how my child is doing in terms of soft skills. So that's your learning skills. So I'm trying to, as a teacher, make these comments as value add as I can, and as geared towards the student, the child. I get asked where do I get my comments. I have accumulated them from over the years. I bought some, but Facebook is also a fantastic place to get comments, and really just going on the curriculum document and picking out the expectations there. I'm going to start right now, learning skills, just filtering through what I want to say. Let's go. So I've been spending the majority of my morning fighting fires on issues that have been happening in school, so I'm just sitting down right now to work on learning skills. I've done 9 students so far. And I think I'm going to take a break because it took me 2 hours to do this. Come up with this comment, make it personalized for each one. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the report card program. I really wasn't productive today because I was firefighting in the morning. I got 12 learning skills done, my religion comment, and that's it. So I have to go get my kids. I'll have to work on this another day. Okay, back. So I did most of my learning skills. I only have about 5 students left. I did a religion comment, and now I'm getting ready to input my grades. This is what my art assessments look like. So I have, for this term, assessed 4 things. So all of these things had a rubric to it. For example, they had a portrait. It was 11.5 out of 12. We had a diorama, we had trading cards, and we had advent art. So in this case, because it's art, I always put a weight to it. I could weight them all evenly. So in this case, because it's 4 of them, they're all weighted as 25%. I could weight them, let's say advent art, maybe this was a little bit more. So if I put this a little bit more, I gotta decrease something so that when I add all these up, it sums to 100 here. So let's say this is what I wanted to do. Then I do a weighted average. This is my grade book. Okay, so I save everything. Okay, so this is term 1, my folder. I have a Excel document for all of the subjects that I report on. And when I save everything, I save everything. So why it says old is because we had a big reorg. And so I kept these because you never know when you're gonna need them, right? So I'm gonna go into art right now because I feel like this is maybe be the most straightforward for me, and I have all the marks. So I go over here. So there's lots of extra columns in case I'm very optimistic and manage to get lots of assessments here. Okay, so I go over here and I calculate the weighted average. So I go equals to, go over here, multiply by this weight, make sure that there are the dollar signs up here. So because I use a Mac, I do Command T, and that makes sure that that is locked. And then I'm going to add, then I go back to diorama, multiply by this weight, T, Command T, I'll make sure this is in brackets, plus, and then trading card, multiplied by this weight, Command T, plus advent art, multiply by this T, and then I enter. And here we go. That is the grade for this person. I'm just gonna drag it all the way down to the bottom. Don't worry, the R's mean either missing or this person is no longer in the class. And then this is a formula that I made. It is the letter grade that is generated based on the growing success, right? So that percentage, it converts into a letter grade over here. This is free, by the way. It is link in profile on Instagram and TikTok. And so now it generates my letter grade and all of it is here. This is so satisfying. Religion is done.
I am done. Now that I have a chance to sit down, I want to share with you what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, some tips and some learnings of how to do report cards. So the first thing is I don't mark everything. I don't mark homework, for example. We take up homework, but completion of homework for me is under learning skills, under responsibility. What goes in the mark book is stuff that parents and guardians have seen. So I send home a student portfolio every 2 weeks. I did a video about it over here. I'll link it as well in the captions. And so this is usually things like assessments, projects, something with a rubric, and usually comments, like teacher comments, so that students can hopefully read and reflect and go over with, and they can apply it to the next projects. So that is what goes in the mark book, something that parents and guardians have seen, so that come report card time, there should be no surprises. Now that you gather the data, now it's time to write it. In terms of writing, always, always, always have a rough draft somewhere. So I use Microsoft Word and I have it on my own personal computer. As mentioned, the comments that I have, they're a combination of ones that I bought, a lot on Facebook groups, and stuff that I've made myself. I do reuse comments. Obviously, you have to have a different comment for every term. So for example, I have progress report comments, term 1 comments, and then term 2 comments. And then under each subject, I have a comment for level 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excuse me, hi. So here's an example. So for grade 4 math, I have level 4, 3, 2, and 1. In terms of tailoring it to the student, I do try to add a line or two that's specific to that student. Like you already have the overall skeleton of it, add a line or two specifically for that student. I've had parents who've mentioned during parent-teacher interview that they could tell I know their child because of those comments. So for example, if a student is new, this could be the first line on their learning skill. Name has adjusted well to a new school, something like that. If you teach a split grade, I have different comments for each grade because they have different expectations. For example, the science strands are obviously completely different, so they need different comments per grade. An example is science, so these are my grade 4s, so they're doing light and sound, right? So we did a scavenger hunt, and so they were able to point out different properties of light. And then for my 5s, they don't do light and sound, they do conservation of energy. So we look over here, and same, we still did a scavenger hunt, but instead of looking for properties of light, they were looking at ways to reduce energy consumption. Okay, so how do I generate comments? I usually go right to the curriculum document, choose an expectation, and then add a qualifier. Let's say, for example, in grade 4 math, they need to know how to divide a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number. Then, according to the growing success document, and here are some qualifiers. This is a summary of the growing success achievement chart based on how we are grading in terms of levels of achievement, converting them into letter grades, and then percentages. So this is free. I'm gonna post this as well, a link on the caption of this video. And then hopefully it's time to proofread your reports. Check the names, because sometimes the names don't come out right, or there's like a weird double space that comes with that. And also make sure that you have all your students. So I use a checklist to make sure everyone is there. If you do have students that go to resource room, for example, then it's good to double check with that teacher there to make sure that your comments are aligned. I think it depends on each school. So in my school, like the resource teacher actually generates the comments for all the kids that she takes. So if it's language and math, she does all the comments and all the grading for that. At the end of the day, I know these reports take a lot of time. We pour so much time, so much concentration over them, but I really look at them as a parent. Like when I look at my own children's report cards, I really appreciate those comments that I see are
are really specific, and because I know my kid, I know my child, right? And so when you think of it like this, if parents and guardians are really looking at these reports to help their child, they're so important. I think the last thing I wanted to say about report cards is that they do get easier. Once you find the groove, once you've built a comment bank, it is a lot easier. That's about it. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.